There was also a point where the Bears were winning and it looked like they were going to win that football game. And I was like, you know what? This is the Perna curse because he just put out a Bears video and look who's doing well. And I was like, this is all his fault. It all comes back to Perna. And then the grace of God shone down upon Carl Brooks, tipping that field goal and extending the Green Bay Packers win streak over the Bears to 11.
Oh, that's not fun. Yes, that's not fun, Bears fans. I am sorry, Chicago. I really am. Look, that game was a weird, that was a whole weird situation for me. Okay.
Yep.
Let's make this about me because that's what that game really needs to do. Yes. Congrats, Packers. Huge win. Clutch win. Didn't look like you were going to do it. But then you beat the Bears the exact same way the Chiefs beat the Broncos just a week ago. Okay. That sucks for Bears fans. For Packers fans, you got to be feeling like you could walk on water. And you can't because only Bo Nix can walk on water. But you got to be feeling that way. And you're right. I was like, of course. We do a deep dive into the Bears' struggles, everything that's going wrong with Chicago. And then they might just crank out a miraculous win. It happened with our Jets video. We had a Deshaun Watson video in the works. Then he gets hurt, takes some of the steam out of that. So I was rooting for the Bears to lose so my video would be relevant for at least another week or until I didn't want to have to wait for the Bears to lose again.
Understood.
But I didn't want them to lose in my heart, Not in that way. I don't wish that way of losing on any fan base except for the Chiefs. To think your team has it, and it wasn't a gimme. I'll say that. It was a 46-yard kick. Sure. It was a weird day for kicking, so it's not like it wasn't a 35-yarder. There's still a chance you're like, they might miss it, but fudge, man. That is a tough way to go down. I feel for you, Chicago. But the good news, Chicago, 1 week after you lose like that, you kick ass. That's just the way it goes. Now, I watched that Bears kick live. Okay, so I went live to stream the game.
Yeah.
Packers-Bears was on. I was like, let's watch through this. And I was not shocked because I had seen it. It was deja vu. If anything, it gave me a little PTSD. But the amount of people who were like, thought that I would be mad that the Packers won that way. I was like, no, I'm happy for Green. I was like, I don't root against Tom and the Packers, guys. Like, I want things to go well for you. But everybody was like, you have to be so pissed that Tom got the win that way. I was like, no. If the Chiefs won that way again this week, I would have been
burn it all down.
I might have punched a computer, but I was happy for you guys. I want to make it clear. I root for Tom's team's success, guys. I do.
Get cursed all the time. Got that season curse.
I like to talk shit to you guys a little bit, but come on now.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about the Chiefs game. That Packers game, dude, that took years off my life. That was
what did they do wrong? I know Love threw another interception. He's got a good streak going, but what kind of went wrong for Green Bay?
So there's a litany of things. So there's been tiny problems. Let me rephrase. There's been problems throughout the season. They're not tiny anymore. There've been problems throughout the season on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. If we look at the offensive side of the ball, you're looking at Jordan Love and his interceptions, right? That's a big old problem. So he throws another pick, and it looks like he just sailed it over Tucker Kraft's head. It was just not a good throw, and it just resulted in a pick in the red zone. So that's a problem. On top of that, they flashed a stat on the screen as well. The Packers have the 29th red zone offense, which is brutal. The Bears have the number 1 red zone defense. So the Bears still have a good defense regardless, right? So there's that. There's also a division game. It's also on the road. But Jordan Love throws a costly interception in the red zone. That really hurts. And what I've been saying about Jordan Love this entire season is as long as the good outweighs the bad, I'm good to go. And someone brought up a really good point. I actually checked it afterwards. Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes have near identical stats this year. They're almost identical. Now, on top of that, Jordan Love has...
Wilson had that with Mahomes last year.
Yeah.
You don't want Mahomes stats anymore.
No, you don't want it. Has missed 2 games, but look at the differences between those 2 teams, right? Because you look at a really good defense, and there's a reason why they only lost their first game yesterday. So that's on the offensive side of the ball. Then there's the defensive side of the ball, in which that is our pass rush. Nothing. Literally nothing. We got 3 sacks yesterday. 1 came earlier in the game, and then it was back-to-back sacks on that final drive, and it was 3rd and 19, and I was like, oh, here we go. And the Bears wind up converting on 4th down. So the defense couldn't stop a cold. That was horrible. They ran all over us. And Caleb Williams, like, I know Bears fans are pretty upset, but Caleb Williams played a really good game. Yeah. And I think, if anything, who we were looking at is talking about Eberflus. Eberflus made a decision to run down the clock even more and not go for extra yards there to put him in better field goal range. I don't know why they did that, but I'm happy about it. And I think that the combination of no pass rush, Jair Alexander got hurt again in this game, which is a problem. He just came back from injury on Sunday and then got hurt again. Doesn't look significant. But I think just if you give teams time and if you give the QBs time, they're going to make plays, right? Now, what you can do to counter that is a really good secondary. And I think we do have a good secondary. But when you have, Valentine on like Romo Dunze or like DJ Moore, a pretty good wide receiver, it's going to be problematic. So, yeah, they controlled time of possession. They had like 36 minutes of time possession. They had long sustained drives that ended in points. And yeah, it was just a tough day for the Packers. And I'm hoping to kind of say like it was a divisional game on the road against a good defense and leave it at that. And also the Packers don't really play well after a bye week. But I don't know, man. Like, I think the ultimate test is going to be against the 49ers, who also don't look that great. But trying to stop CMC next week is going to be a challenge, considering they allowed, Caleb Williams and company to run all over us. So there's definitely things to be fixed, and I'm very happy the Packers won. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, they didn't play well against the Vikings until literally the 4th quarter. The Lions, it was a tough game. And now the Bears, like, they're struggling within the division. And I know you see that all over the place. I mean, the Steelers just beat the Ravens, right? We've seen that all year. The Broncos, they almost beat the Chiefs. Like, divisional games are divisional games for a reason, right? These teams know each other really well, and they usually play really tough against one another. So I'm hoping to chalk it up to that, but there are issues with this Packers team, especially the pass rush, especially the turnovers, that it needs to get addressed. And I don't know if it's going to be. Jordan Love made some decisions that I really liked yesterday, because there was times where he just like threw the ball away. And I was like, good. Do not force it. And there's some amazing throws he had. He had one that dropped right, like in double coverage. There was Christian Watson, who had a career high game. He had 4 catches for 150 yards, where he had a diving catch, got up and kept running for like 60 yards. So, like, again, there's stuff about this team that I love. I am concerned when we go up against good defenses, though.
Sure.
Because we can't return the favor. And when we're not getting turnovers like the Packers have been this year, those mistakes and those problems look even more amplified.
Yeah. They feel a little bit similar to the Texans in that, like, they overperformed, I think, maybe down the stretch last year. And what it did was it put these expectations for 2 quarterbacks just going into their second season. And then, a lot of little things happen. Every NFL season is going to be different. Every week in the NFL is going to be different. Injuries to certain players, even if they're not season ending, they can wreck a game. They can wreck, a couple games. And it's like the Packers have fought through a bunch of that stuff, mainly like the different injuries to Jordan Love through the first half of the season. And now it's just, can they get back to where they were at the end of last season again this year and be that team that can, surprise, I think, in the playoffs. And I thought we would be talking about the Packers as a team that's like the favorite going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Versus anybody but the Lions. I thought the Lions would be as good as they are, and they are delivering. Oh God, sorry.
Very much so, they are delivering.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like growing pains.
Well,
is Robert Saleh still helping you guys?
Say again?
Is Robert Saleh still there?
He's back in Green Bay this past week. Yeah, that was also the thing. You mentioned that, and Jordan Love was incredible down the stretch. Like, he wasn't turning the ball over. I think he had like one interception. Like, it was crazy. He was just crushing it. And you look at that first drive against the Bears yesterday, dude, it was surgical. Like, it was a perfect first drive. And I was like, okay, and if Jordan Love doesn't have interception, I think we're talking about this game a little bit differently. But It was just giving the ball back. And it was against the Lions too, right? Because that first half was really damn close between the Lions and the Packers. And then Love throws a pick 6 and it kind of blew the game open. And then they were just on cruise control. So I think if he can limit that, and Stenavich was asked about this, and the play calling was effing weird too, man. The play calling at times, especially in the red zone, was just not good. I don't know what LaFleur was doing. I have no idea what was going on. But if Stenavich was asked about this and said, do you think that Love's turnovers are a result of his injury or decision-making? And he goes decision-making. So it's fixable. And like I said, there was things that he did in this game that I thought he improved upon his decision-making. And I think it was just one bad throw and, he just missed the guy. It's going to happen. But yeah, I'm hopeful that it can get better. And again, the way that I'm at, because Jordan Love then led that team down the field for that game-winning drive, the good is outweighing the bad. But against the truly great teams in this league, you have to be pretty perfect. To beat the Lions, like we're going to play them again in December, they're going to have to play pretty perfect football. They're not going to be able to afford this. So because with a lack of pass rush and giving the ball back to the defense, which did not look good yesterday, the offense needs to be playing at an extremely high level in order to get those wins.